Ladies and gentlemen, order in the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down, inheritance coming up short, scammers getting the last laugh, drug lords in your future. Well, where there's a will, there's a way. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll fight for you. He'll get you the defense you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no! I need legal representation! Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh, wait! I know!
Better call
Saul! So without further ado, it's time to start judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, Dragon, that's probably the most complicated intro we do, and I think we nailed it, man. We nailed it.
Okay. Nailed it like Chuck's head on that counter.
Oh, boy. Oh, jeez. And if I was a professional lawyer right now, I'd be fired for the way my tie looks.
Well, no, not every court case works like my cousin Vinny, Tiki. I think you'd be fine.
How you doing, Dragon? We got a lot of stuff to get into. We don't have a lot of time, so let's just dive right into it. Season 3, Episode 1, Mabel. Yeah, we don't even really have time for first impressions, Dragon. Let's just jump.
Well, directed by this episode was directed by Vince Gilligan and was written by the team of Gilligan and Gould.
Of course.
Okay.
So I'll be getting into first impressions of stuff as they happen. We're just going to be as efficient with this as we can. I think we can get through this relatively quickly because there's a lot of let's just say a lot of kind of like moving the pieces in this episode that I think we can kind of get through quickly. But without further ado, Dragon, let's get to the ever anticipated Gene scene, which absolutely delivered this season.
Time yet again for Gene scene. So yet another day, as we like to do with Better Call Saul, we usually open the season with another day in the life of Gene. Of course, initially my thoughts on this were, okay, it's the Gene scene's always the huge coveted part of the season. It's always huge shoes to fill. Because the first one, of course, it's setting the stage. Second one,
it's Breaking Bad sequel.
Exactly. So of course there's a lot of anticipation, and you really want to sell it. And initially I was thinking, okay, this is good. It doesn't really measure up to the one from season 2 at first. And then we get the tag shot. Okay, but at first, because I think you would agree with me that the first seemed like not really surpassing the first two initially. Okay, the tag shot's kind of cool.
It's kind of funny because the way that you're staging this is kind of like an amalgamation of my thoughts on the episode as a whole. Like, at first, I thought the episode was just kind of, like, grinding its wheels a bit. It was a little like, okay, this is fine, but it's not great. It doesn't match up to Season 2, Episode 1. But then in the last 10 minutes, they're like, okay, you got me hooked again.
So, we get, like, a few neat shots. It's played to, of course, they love their music choices. We get Sugar Town, sang by the wonderful Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah.
Then things get really interesting as Gene goes on a lunch break.
And I just have written down in my notes, the most mundane lunch ever.
Yep, I love the fact that he's reading while he's eating
a book. So true. Yeah.
So Gene's reading and he's eating the sandwich, Vince Gilligan's snack of choice.
Of course.
Again, always likes to make fun of himself, so he's always eating something on set. That's his joking kind of put down of himself. So he's always like eating a donut or eating a hot dog or eating a sandwich. So he is. So as Gene's kind of casual day, let's get very mundane, very monotonous. He is interrupted. Of course, he's on a bench in a very mall-like setting. He is interrupted by a corduroy shoplifter.
A very Pinkman-esque corduroy shoplifter.
It's not exactly kind of climbing out the window of a topless woman, but no. So, as basically this corduroy shoplifter, he's kind of running from the place he just stole from. He's stumbling. He's very Pinkman-esque. Like the thing spills out of his pocket right in front of Gene. Like literally, he's kind of eye contact, face to face. Like it's being pursued by a cop and a security guard. Essentially, the shoplifter just he ducks into. I love the staging of this because you kind of see what's going to happen. He ducks into the photo booth to hide.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have a huge one. Of course, we've set up, especially in season 2, that Gene not only is keeping his head down, like we saw in season 1, but of course he's very sketchy of just any police involvement.
Yes,
whatsoever.
yes, and I love the close up on the badge as soon as the cop talks
Omaha,
to him.
like Omaha Police or Omaha City or State Police. So as the kid hides, and the cop and the security guard cop walks up to him, very nervous. Gene is approached, and he's questioned. Did you see anything? I love the realistic kind of pause and the repetition, the nerve-wracking repetition of the question. Because Gene could just like kind of wave off, say no. We assume that's what he's going to do, but then again, Gene, the shop they're really so clumsy, they write it up in his face, and he's getting really nervous. He wants the guy to go away as quickly as possible. So then, without saying a word, he points very sheepishly with his finger. He points to the photo booth, and after that contemplation, he points him out, which leads to the shoplifter's arrest. And what this action really, and the minute this happened to you guys, this jumped in my mind, like, oh my god, this is brilliant. That's what they're doing here. It's such a great way of foreshadowing the season in one moment, because he's condemning it's not a bad criminal. He's a young kid. He's a young kid who's just screwing up here. He's condemning this stupid kid, like Chuck most likely did to Jimmy this season.
Right.
And then I love that. It was then the moment that I think everyone's really talking about. Is after the cop thanks Gene, just hey, good work, buddy, or like good work, as he's carting the young guy off. A moment of pause, but just the fact that he was thanked by a cop for kind of sending this kid up the roof, or very again. Just,
I think if the cop would have said nothing, it would have just been like a minor incident.
Yes.
Like Gene would have probably just shrugged his shoulders and
But it compounds on him, and in that moment, then Gene is something not even he expected, which is going to feed into our ending of the Gene stuff. Is that I think that he just he has this outburst of get a lawyer, don't say anything, get a lawyer.
Say nothing, you understand?
The kid then calls Gene an a-hole, which I think is very much in tune. Well, we're definitely going to see in a scene in this episode what could be the whole season. Even the best of intentions, there's going to be an aftermath, and doesn't fix everything. Even if you say you're sorry, try doing the right thing, the action still stands for itself.
Very much so.
The kid's still not gracious or anything. He's still going to call him an a-hole because he doesn't really get the implication or anything. Just nothing. So then. And Gene returns. I love this. We didn't really mention this in the other two Gene scenes, but I love that Gene, much like Saul and Jimmy, he's surrounded by female coworkers. I love that pleasant. He's really nice. Like ciao,
no, you're right,
ladies.
you're right.
It's very much into the nail salon.
Uh-huh.
So again, he's lovely. We always pair Saul up with like kind of female staff.
I could see Gene being like a very like run of the mill mundane boss, but a very pleasant boss. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, anyway, so as again they're welcoming him back. Oh hey Gene. So then basically as he's about to start icing the Cinnabons, again the aftermath, most likely the aftermath of the effect. So of course there's another theory going on. I think it's very likely the first one. Just the aftermath of just that sudden outburst. Just again, Saul Goodman, we knew from last season, had been trying subtly to getting out by carving SG in the wall, so he's been aching to get out.
Of course.
And again, just kind of that outburst of like, not even Saul Goodman, more like Jimmy McGill had an outburst in that moment versus Saul Goodman.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, that's a deep reference. Right on.
Just from the shock and the surprise at himself, just that much it took at him, because he put himself at risk too.
Of course.
I don't think actually, but again, it in his mind, yes, he's very on the radar.
I mean, in his mind, it's like the police officer like saw him, and like I don't know. It was a very skeptical thing to do in front of a police officer. I think
exactly the fact that he undermined a cop is still
exactly
pretty bad.
Right.
So Gene then passes out mid-bun icing.
And then I just have in my notes, that's it for a year.
We'll get to speculation. I'm not entirely sure about that. We'll see. Hold on. I might blow your mind with some stuff. But the point is, so again, some people are thinking if it's stress or cancer. So again, it could be one of the two.
Oh God! Oh man!
I'm saying Walter White had an identical moment. I don't think he's cancer. I'm just
cancer thing.
I'm just saying it'd be kind of bizarrely poetic of and now another character stricken down.
We could even have like a similar like mustard moment.
That's what I'm saying. Another again mustachio glass character. Now again, I'm pretty sure it's stress, and I think Gilligan hasn't denied anything else. Like Gilligan's joked saying, "Oh, maybe we just kill him off there."
Mhm.
He always joked, but anyways, the point is that's a big gene opening. Again, it kind of leaves you wanting more desperately.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so back, of course, they keep saying in season 2 they said they altered it a little bit. I wonder if they've done that here. The openings, they had a very subtle, super subtle alterings of the Statue of Liberty. So basically, all little Saul Goodman openings for Better Call Saul.
I mean, if anything, it's probably like different tones of saturation or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll see. Because I think season 2 added the black and white fixture, and then we have. Yeah, I always assume like the black and white's more like Gene stuff on the horizon. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Okay, let's see. So when we start the episode, we have a great, and this is a great black and white transition. So we, of course, the first part was black and white, then we transition to essentially what seems to be black and white with the foil
Mm-hmm.
as it's pulled back. And this is a cool idea. Take us through it.
Yeah, well, the episode it is a very Breaking Bad type situation where you have the episode picking up immediately afterwards, seeing different perspectives on the same events that took place in the cliffhanger of last season.
It's a clever way of recapping the events without kind of overtrading it. We're seeing from a different scene from the outside. It's it's kind of it's a story relevant recap.
So you see Chuck hiding the tape recorder, but you see it from like a further angle.
Yeah, because this is so cool. Like as Jimmy leaves, we the audience like enter through the path that he just created for us. Very kind of Hitchcockian Psycho shot in a way. Like we're kind of trailing in. So anyway, so Chuck sees he's putting the tape recorder away in like his desk drawer, secret desk drawer. Which he
and speaking of the tape recorder, Dragon, it's wrapped in tinfoil, of course.
Which is the in the drawer. I love this. He has I love that we in addition to the space blanket, we also have kind of that space blankety. The little visor you put in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has that that heat reflective visor thing all over the place, and he's using that inside the drawer. And that's what he put. He put that on the wall as well as the space blanket stuff. Let's not forget. I'm saying it's so he has like all sorts of different variety of space blanket and then foil all around the place. So at points he puts the tape recorder in the drawer because again it pains him to even touch that thing. He puts it in the drawer. Then Jimmy on the outside is calling Howard, telling him that all went well. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck then begins, as Jimmy walks back in, of course, the thing is locked in a drawer. Jimmy has no idea that's there. Chuck is beginning to take down the space blanketed room. And then this scene makes Chuck look really malicious, I think, initially.
You think? Okay. Okay.
Initially, yes. They're at the scene. I thought, oh, God, Chuck, that is evil, man. What are you doing? Basically, Chuck basically Chuck has two scenes. I'm just saying, oh, Chuck.
I'm sorry. I love how much you hyped up Chuck for being so evil there. Okay.
Like Chuck has two moments in this episode. I'm thinking, oh, Chuck, that's just not right.
Okay.
That's twisted, man. Just so what Chuck does here, he begins
I love it.
He begins taking down the space blanket room. And Jimmy, being the nice brother he is, he's assisting because again, okay, my brother's now on the brink of losing his mind. I know he's not happy with him. I'm going to help him out. He's generally helping him here. And then Chuck instantly, here's what I'm saying. He's like being really prickish. He's scrutinizing the way he's helping.
He's like, Jimmy, if you want to help, don't screw it up. Oh, you're pulling the varnish off the wall now. Look, you did it. Look at it. It's there. It's off.
I do like the subtext of that scene though. Think about it. It said, okay, there's the right way to do things, and then there's the easier, slightly destructive way of doing things.
That's true. Yeah.
So again, it's the jealous brother as always, and just Chuck is he's scrutinizing as Jimmy's helping him, and again, he knows full well that he intends to use this maliciously against his brother, and you feel so. It's like the fact that Chuck can't be civil to his brother for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He can't be completely civil with him. He always says despite the fact he's manipulating him even now.
We'll get into that because I think this scene is like a really good representation of the whole, like he can't be civil for more than a few minutes at a time.
Exactly. It's like Chuck, even then he's not like 100% civil. It's like it's civil on the surface, which as far as Jimmy knows is fully civil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like Chuck is just very ungrateful and petty in this scene because again, Jimmy's going out of his way to help him after he helped him from his break. It's kind of like the whole thing from season 2 where the he was told he was going to be late for work at Davis and Maine. Holding the gloves off scene. The whole like, oh, and if you leave now, that whole night he was waiting up with them, and they're going to be late because of him, that sort of thing. He's going out of his way to help his brother.
Right.
Point is, Chuck's ungrateful pay. We have the Karate Kid gag, the whole like I get it, wax on, wax off Karate Kid. And just Chuck has no time for movies. Apparently,
You know what? You know what? I think Chuck and what's his name? Fucking Sam Loomis would be best friends. I don't have time for movies, right, Sam? Yeah, who needs movies? Meh.
So as Jimmy very nicely is helping take down the spaceman thing, which again Chuck put up all on his own. He just let him do it himself. But Jimmy's a nice guy. He finds the Adventures of Mabel. Now, by the way, fun little nod, and the reason for Mabel here, and I double checked, by the way, Ruth McGill is the mother's name, so Mabel wasn't no chance of Mama Mabel, unfortunately.
Okay. No Mama Mabel.
Yeah, but in real life, though, here's the kind of the touching thing that was revealed on Talkin' Saul, is that this book and this story, essentially, this idea is from Vince Gilligan's childhood. He and his brother were read by their mother, Adventures of Mabel. But of course, we got the meanings here, and that okay, it's an heirloom, it's a McGill family heirloom. That it's a book that's been read since 1912, essentially.
Okay.
And their Grammy Davenport, she read this to her class. She's a school teacher. She read this to her class, and I marked it down like the day the Titanic sank. Yeah, neat little historical thing. And Jimmy recalls how Mama McGill read it to him. And then Chuck just again really credit hungry Chuck. He just says, "Oh, actually,
I know, right?"
And I love it. Jonathan Banks also pointed that out too. Like, why is he? You don't take the credit for that. Chuck points out it was actually him, and he points. He points it out just purely for credit's sake. Again, super petty and entitled. Like, hey, I did this for you. Again, you're gonna stab him in the back, and you're just making.
And then like the one moment of humanity that Chuck has is like the freaking Daffy Duck nightlight. Yes,
because you also got to remember the mother thing's always a sore spot with Chuck. Because again, that's what informs McKean's take on it. The whole Jimmy made Mom McGill proud. Where I'm sorry, Jimmy made her laugh. Where Chuck made her proud, but Jimmy made her laugh, and it just infuriates him.
Sure.
But you're right. Jimmy tries to make up for kind of the forgetting as the brothers bond over the Daffy Duck knockoff nightlight.
Yeah, the rip-off nightlight. Yeah.
And just as they're genuinely bonding from it, I think that's a moment where Chuck just genuinely forgot like all the mouse he had.
This is like a Walter White moment right here. It's like you can see Chuck just like switch. You know what I mean? He's just like, wait, no. It's like he can't just be genuine with his goddamn brother. It's really frustrating.
Yep, and just
really frustrating.
I love this type of writing. Well, it's not just Daffy Duck. It's a knockoff of Daffy Duck.
Right.
So realistic because we see knockoffs of things all the time. So then Chuck just instantly undercuts it.
Wait, Dragon. I have an example. Now that you mention it, my mom got me a knockoff Pokemon for Christmas.
Get at it.
Look. It's a yokai watch. It's a knockoff Pokemon.
Oh, God.
So that's great. I had like a visual cue ready to go. Anyways.
All right. Let's see. Anyway, so Chuck then undercuts everything with Jimmy, don't think I won't forget what happened here today. You will pay, which has completely different context than I thought it was. I mean, he's doing as evil as things I expected in that.
I just hate that, man. I don't know.
Because in the trailer, I thought it was like him being all supportive, like, "Oh, Jimmy, I won't forget what happened here today," and then later on, just "You will pay." But no. In this scene, it's like he's doing all this. It's just like pounding the whole like, "Yes, I'm gonna screw you over, and you don't even know it."
Yeah. It's
again, Chuck just sounded kind of so evil.
I mean, it's well done, but it's tough to watch. You know what I mean?
I know, and your heart pours out for Jimmy. Again, this is like the dramatic irony that Lemony Snicket's going on about in the series of Forge Events. It's like we know something horrible is going to happen to Jimmy. Anyway, so the thread is kind of seeded there, and basically the big seed of the wheel turning, which that's the big turn of phrase we're definitely going to have later on. So again, the wheel turning. You're making all these turns, and basically down a winding road. And of course, the minute you let go of the wheel, it's going to spin back to where it was. That's where the wheel turning phrase comes from. The point is, we're seeding the idea. Okay, Jimmy's gonna have to pay for his actions, and Chuck's kind of the merciless kind of the executor of that order. Anyway, so then kind of the brotherly love is kind of quailed. So then, meanwhile, we cut in with our one of our favorite female characters in television, Kim Wexler.
And soon to be probably our favorite female character in television.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to look at it like in terms of, do you mean in terms of like still ongoing?
Yes, yes.
Well, yeah, definitely yes. But so let's see. So we have the wonderful Kim Wexler, played by Ray Seahorn. She's doing wills because that's where we left her off last. She was taking on a few of Jimmy's clients while he was dealing with
coffee, but I do not want cream.
So she's doing the wills for Mrs. Simasco.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Mrs. Simasco and her daughter Jen. She's doing the wills, and they're very. The mother is very specific about her garden.
Don't forget to mention the lily pond.
They're very specific about the garden and the lily pond. You know, again, Kim Wexler now, and Ray Seahorn is such a brilliant.
I love this old woman's wording because she's basically just like, like, I don't want that dirty judge to pull any tricks. And, it's like I love how Kim's story arc this episode is basically just like people are just kind of like jamming it in her side without even really knowing it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, hey, you did a crooked thing. You got to a situation by a crooked means. Hey, do you get it?
Yeah. But it's that as well as the whole, again, you have Kim's really busy with the Mesa Verde thing, and that all these extra clients are really not helping her get that done. Because we know how much time she really saves Mesa Verde, but that's, again, a lot of hard work on the side.
Of course.
But let's see. And now, so I want to give super props to Racy because I heard them talking about this on Talking, so I also did a little bit of interview. I saw her do some interviews, and I love how they give the actors elbow room to kind of write their own characters' backstories. We mentioned that before, but they really do it here. So basically, what she's informed with Kim, what we've seen evidence of in the other two seasons, it's really expressed here. It's been covered. Despite the fact, okay, well, obviously the garden and everything's covered in the backyard, Kim is very sweet on the old folks. She can't, she just really can't take these people on. Because, again, she's really busy at the moment. But, again, she really shouldn't be taking on Jimmy's clients, but she does because not only the fact that she likes Jimmy, but more so what we've seen in her backstory is that she contemplated getting into elder law. She contemplated that because she cares for all folks. And remember, she has really good reason because her grandmother was abused in those old folks' home by the law. And that's why she sticks up for the old people. That's why she takes these people on, despite the fact she really logically shouldn't. I'm saying that's why she's super patient with her in this scene. Like, despite all the gardens, he's not being disparaging, like rolling her eyes or anything. It's like, okay, Lily Pond, you got it. That's why we love Kim Wexler, folks. She's just darn.
Oh yeah.
Pleasantries.
She doesn't even miss a beat. You know what I mean? She's just like, all right, yeah, sure, you got it.
She's very patient and so willing to help. Anyway, so we'll pun aside. Jimmy returns. Thanks, Kim, for her help after they usher the old folks out. Jimmy gets the name wrong. Then we get essentially the one clip that we did see. Remember, I've told you about this clip. We get the crisis of Vern.
Yeah.
We get crisis of Vern. Okay, and then April. What? But thanks for crisis of Vern.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't really like it. I do think he is not being the most sincere with Kim at this moment, to say the least.
Well, no, he was willing to tell her, but he said, "Well, it's about that thing that you said you never wanted to hear about."
No, I know. I'm just saying the wording of like crisis averted. Like, I mean, I would not call it crisis averted.
Well, I would say, he's not quitting the law. That was the crisis, so it is averted.
Okay, but I mean,
Chuck was going to quit the law. That was the crisis, and that's been averted.
But okay, yeah, got it. Sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry. We were going so well. Do it. Come on, save me.
Anyway, so she's.
No, I was just kind of thinking the crisis was more like this situation with Chuck and screwing over Chuck and whatnot. But you're right. It would be. I'm sorry. I'm dumb.
Different crisis. Yeah. Like you're thinking of that. The nailed was that crisis. That was a different crisis.
Right.
Anyway, so neat. I love this, and of course, this is why I love these two, and they're far superior to Walter and Skyler.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Believe me, as much as we will like celebrate and like throw a parade for Breaking Bad, we always have to draw the line in the sand with Skylar. Okay, there's one divot in the perfect statue that is Breaking Bad.
And you know what? I'll even give Skylar season 4 and 5 a pass.
That's what I'm saying. Again, it's like a roller coaster. Like certain, she has her ups and downs. It's like at times she's better, and others like I think first season and the last half of 5, I think she's good.
Yeah, totally. Anyway.
Okay, let's see. All right, so what I love, what makes them so superior in my mind is the fact that Jimmy and Kim, like they sit down, they're basically going about what we see in Crisis of Earth, which essentially is, Jimmy's asking, well, I'll take on the clients. Well, no, I had to take them on, and I have some business experience. So I can say this is actually what would happen in a situation where you have to take on these clients. You can't just hand them back over. So Kim's taking.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
Again, Jimmy doesn't want to add undue pressure on the Kim. Like, I know you're busy with stuff, and that's why she's saying, "Look, my hands are full right here. We can't go like an early dinner or anything right now. I gotta do these extra wills." And I begged them, to come back another day and take you on. So maybe you'll get a few of those that walked out.
Yeah, 6 of them left. Yeah.
Yep, and I love this whole Jimmy's kind of sitting all contemplatively, and then Kim's wondering, "Are you mad?" And the fact that they're not mad, he addresses, "No, I'm not mad." There's no that stupid misunderstanding,
of course,
puffiness that we've seen, not just on Bray. I'm saying in general with relationships on TV. It's like they're really so in tune with each other. They can just look to her and says, "No, I'm not mad." Saying so genuinely, not like he's not lying at all. It's just he says, "Well, just for 10 minutes." It's just, for 10 minutes, it was like Chuck didn't hate me. Oh, my God. Then we have what Ray Seahorn. She always describes this look when she looks at Odenkirk's, like, shoes that are held together by paper clips.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the instant sympathy look. And I just imagine that's what she looks like when she looks at Jimmy. She always does. That's how she gets in the character with the Jimmy relationship. So we see that sympathetic look that Kim gives Jimmy. And then she, like, flicks, like, a rubber band or, like, a paper clip or something at him just to, like, lift his spirits. Oh, ain't that sweet. Good stuff.
So we cut to the tea party with Howard Hamlin. Oh God!
No, it's anything but a tea party for Howard Hamlin. So Chuck is playing
kind of like a Boston tea party for Howard Hamlin. I don't know. No, not really.
So essentially, this scene is basically a page from my Christmas in July pitch for Better Call Saul. So Chuck plays the tape for Howard. And of course, I'm saying I shouldn't really call him saying it's imagine what would have happened.
Can I deliver Howard's first line of the season, which I love?
By all means.
Well, your brother is one world-class son of a bitch. I love that. That's just like the thesis statement for Howard Hamlin going forward, I think.
Yeah. So Howard is, suffice it to say, shocked and surprised by this news, by all these doings. It's like
because of course, as we admired about Howard through seasons 1 and 2, like he's stuck up through Jimmy a number of times.
Yeah, it's very Howard Hamlin's always been one of those super fascinating characters of Better Call Saul. I've been very enamored with. So season 1, not only just for running gags, but it's a running gag because we like the guy in the first. Let's never lose that in our minds there. Let's always remember that. So the first season, of course, Howard Hamlin just plays the bag, and we had like this huge switch in episode 9, which is really cool. As our world was turned around in season 2. Season 2 was the ambiguity of Hamlin because you don't know which side he's on. You don't know what he's doing. And now season 3, I think we're going to usher through season 3 to see what side he's going to take. This season's going to be Howard picking a side.
Because I think at this point he is very conflicted about it because he does kind of point out, and I think he knows that Chuck is playing dirty himself. You know what I mean? So
yes.
I think essentially what Howard is getting, he realizes, much like poor Ernesto that we'll talk about, and Ernesto's arguably in even deeper than Howard is, but, much like Ernesto, Howard just essentially finds himself being used as a pawn in this war between the two brothers.
Yeah, you're right about that. And that's also something to point out with Howard is that the way Fabian's been talking about, and I think is very true, like the way he's playing Hamlin, because again, he can't give away too much with Hamlin because you never want to give away what side Hamlin's going to take. Is that he's saying Hamlin is definitely, we're going to see whatever side he leans towards through Howard's own self-interest. So Howard will have his own side that will align with one of these sides. It's not going to be just purely like he'll be like full on the team, at least as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So like we got to look at Hamlin as the business owner. Basically,
I honestly kind of think he's going to get sick of both of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's going to be sick of being caught in between the two of them. He's going to be his own side in this thing. So, So for all, I want to point out, I love logically how Chuck is like across the room when he is playing the tape recorder because you can't be near that thing. It's like a way of taking down Chuck a little bit. Like, yeah, you can't be in the same room as his evidence. Ha ha.
Sure, sure.
And just Howard again. Howard's
We're gonna
first.
rejoice in Chuck's evil this season, I think.
And I love
let's call a spade here, Dragon. There's no doubt about it. Chuck is the big bad of Better Call Saul.
This season definitely.
I think throughout the whole narrative.
It's definitely looking that way.
Yeah, which I think is fascinating.
But again, I want to point out this season it's pretty clear cut evil. Before again, there's Chuck does have somewhat of a point, and he is right in the end. We know technically he's right because he does turn into Saul Goodman.
Sure,
technically. Anyway, let's see. So again, basically Howard in this episode, like one of his lines following the initial line was like, I don't know where to begin. He said he's processing how twisted this McGill relationship is. He's not happy with Jimmy or he's basically not happy with Jimmy, and he's not fully processing the why yet of why Jimmy did what he did. He knows what Jimmy did.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's also just very, as we were kind of pointing out in some of the speculation we were doing, you know what I mean? Like, he gets on Chuck as well. He's like, you realize that none of this is going to hold up in court, right? Like, it's like you got the recording without permission, and Jimmy could just pull a legal loophole of saying that, of bringing in like an audio expert and saying it's not even Jimmy's voice.
Exactly. Basically, the myriad of things you could use, for reasons it won't help, because just denial. Like I didn't say that. It's not my voice. You can bring up the episode as you said. The one they didn't mention, but I'm sure this is there too. Is that Jimmy said in the recording? Well, they mentioned like in terms of editing the audio, because in the audio we hear. I was just telling you that basically Jimmy can make the argument. I'm just telling him that to make him feel better.
Of course.
So again, there's always that stuff. So yeah, the tape is very much useless in any way of getting Mesa Verde back, because as Howard points out, there's no way in heck we can even walk in the doors of Mesa. So real quick then, but I'm saying like initially, right now we're just focusing on, he hasn't quite turned against Chuck yet. He's not really airing out his frustrations, Chuck, except when he says, I wish I was in on the planning process, which Howard gives like a really kind of like half-hearted like apology of like, oh well, I regret that, Howard. Yes,
right.
Like, what a prick! Chuck, come on, he nearly gave the man a heart attack, and he's on your side. Darn it, he's the other H logo. So again, he's kind of processing how twisted this is, and again, like he's not happy with Jimmy for losing Mesa Verde in the first place. But again, he understands the reasons for like they went to Kim. But again, he's been trying to retain a client. It's been all business with Howard. It's not personally motivated. And I think as time will go on, he's going to process kind of the why Jimmy did what he did, which I think will less cloud kind of like the clear cut, well, business wise. But we'll see. I don't know. So I think if. Something I noticed, I meant to bring this up. There are two things in this episode I meant to bring up during the speculation. I'm kicking myself for not bringing up. So first and foremost, let me say, I think with Howard, and tell me if this sounds crazy, doesn't Howard strike you as if Jimmy conformed or stayed with Davis in Maine and ended up kind of the very hands-off, basically, what if Jimmy stayed with Davis in Maine, or he conformed to being kind of a by-the-books lawyer and he worked his way up the scale, he could be Howard Hamlin.
I really like that. I can sign off on that for sure.
what I've heard and what we're really getting from Fabian is that he's not Howard, because of where he ascended in the ranks of lawyerdom. He got the ultimate path of success, and what that path of success entails, and where we're going to see Howard come down from, is he's in the position of not getting his hands dirty. He's in the business. He basically is more of a businessman than a lawyer. We've seen that. He's the face of the company. He facilitates the clients. He doesn't do the lawyering. We've never seen him do anything lawyer related. He manages the lawyers. That's what he is, and. He was stuck with law. I feel the way Howard talked about hanging his own shingle, going his own way, but his father stuck him with law. And I think he's been stuck with law because his father liked it. I think Howard Hamm probably would have been a very successful businessman or a stockbroker or something had he been hanging his own shingle. We don't even know if he would have gotten in law, but he just kind of he's a businessman stuck in law right now. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're going to see with Howard is Howard's going to cares about keeping HHM spinning. He keeps about keeping his golf games, keeping his fancy schedules going, keeping the
keeping the
Literally,
tea parties running.
exactly. But you see what I'm saying? Like Howard,
Yeah.
where we're coming out with Howard is like he's all about keeping HHA spinning, and all the McGill stuff. He's like always throwing a rock at everything. It's like, hey, we're trying to backstab this guy. We're losing big clients. We're battling over clients. We're screwing up publicly with Mesa Verde. It's like it's a nightmare for Hamlin. He just wants to keep things spinning. Like Chuck's doing. He's thinking about quitting. That's like $17 million out of the company. What? So, all this thing is threatening kind of the stability. And I think it's going to make Howard question Chuck's stability in the process. Like, is Chuck worth all this heartache and stress? Like, if there's something I can get him out and still retain the company, I want to keep things spinning without all these McGill family wars going on.
Sure.
So again, he would have liked to have been on the plan. And there's a fun parallel with our pairings of characters here, because you have Howard and Chuck as a parallel to Jim and Kimmy.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like, those two are like, they're having a very strange bromance at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, they serve the exact same roles. Again, like Chuck is very much acting. He's so hypocritical. He's acting like Jimmy.
No, yeah, that's the great thing about this season is I feel like Chuck is definitely turning into Jimmy without even realizing it. Like, Chuck in his own mind is definitely on the high and mighty path. You know what I mean? Whereas Jimmy, I feel like definitely like he has the slip and Jimmy quality to him, but as we've seen, he's much more of a humanitarian than Chuck is.
Yeah, and we see with Howard and Kim, they're both very much kind of the court ready, very astute, kind of the calm ones in the relationship. They're the kind of they're more professional lawyers in the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
They're the reserved ones. They're the kind of the smart ones. Well, I don't want to say smart because they're both all of our characters are kind of smart in their own ways. Anyway, so let's see. So as he mentions, you accomplished nothing. We're not getting Mesa Verde back. So why? Why do this? And then Chuck says a very ominous, villainous line. He says, "Oh, I can't think of a single use for this." And then Chuck says, "Oh, I have one use for it."
Oh my God. And that is like the line of the episode for me that kind of like draws me into the season, to tell you the truth.
Now, I'm predicting one of two things with Chuck's plan there. One, it's either blackmail, or more specifically, what it's most likely going to be. Again, both could fit into each other by all means, but I think the main thing, he's going to be trying to disbar Jimmy this season.
No, I think you're right on money with that, yeah.
Okay, so Milo, take us through, link us up with Mike. What's going on there?
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Because of course, let's not forget, we are a certain.
Do you want to do it now?
No. Is it ready now?
Yeah, it's ready now.
Oh boy, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you want to set up the visual though?
Sure, folks. So in the episode, maybe let's build to the visual.
Built to the visual. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Just kind of come like we'll get there. The point is, we got
excited that I was actually competent and ready for a change.
Folks, have very familiar, warm feelings for Mike Ehrmantraut. Let's say that much right now.
Yeah, although I gotta say, Dragon, this episode is kind of tested my patience a little bit with Mike. And I know that's not a popular opinion. I really know it's not, but it's just, I like where we ended up with Mike. I thought that it was a good insight into his mind and the way his mind works. Having said that, I just kind of feel like editing wise, you could have toned down some like the long, meticulous shots. I don't know. Like, pacing wise, I kind of had an issue with the Mike stuff.
I see your point to an extent. I think the last scene definitely went on too long. I will attest to that. I do think the last scene went on too long. We'll get there when we get there, but I don't know. I think the rest of the thing. I think Mike was just more. He was more story than character, which is kind of unusual for Mike.
Maybe that's the problem I'm having. Then I guess.
I think it's only going to be kind of just for first. I think, given like what his story is going to lead to, they had to lay the groundwork. So I think that's only like a first episode sort of thing. I think he's going to be back to his kind of normal Mike-ness.
Okay.
But we do get kind of visions of like little glimpses of what we love about Mike in this episode here and there. We'll get there. So the point is, we link up with Mike. So of course, what are we? A lot
of great shots here. I think we can go through this pretty quickly. Of course, he's speeding through the desert. It's picking up exactly where we left off.
The don't on his window before he was able to kill Hector. So
I love the fork in the road, and of course, symbolism. And there's like a dark kind of like purple sky in the background. Really
lightning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, as Mike kind of contemplates the situation at the fork in the road. I wonder if Mike pulled over just like, you know what, this would make for a really cool, dramatic, symbolic shot, so I'm going to do it for you, Vince. Vince is like, yeah, thanks, Mike, because you're a fictional character.
Vince Gilligan had a hilarious comparison for Albuquerque recently.
Yeah.
He said it's like that episode from Star Trek when they go this earthly town where everything's all nice and friendly, but everything's secretly trying to kill you. Essentially, that's what he compared Albuquerque to. It's really nice, it's really pleasant, but like the weather conditions and everything, hence the light. It's like everything's trying to kill you when you're shooting Albuquerque. Anyway,
okay, so we find ourselves at 5J's Auto Parts. Yeah, and Mike gets to work, and this is a very impressive sequence, editing-wise, and also just mechanic-wise, Dragon. Just the meticulous quality to it.
Jonathan Banks is taking apart that car.
And it took 2 full days to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love it. He just taking the car apart bit by bit. This is the Mike stuff that I really like. I want to be clear, and I agree with you that it's kind of the stuff later on that kind of starts to drag.
And let's be clear, Mike's not taking apart his car because he hates cars. He's taking apart for a very important reason. He's looking for a bug or a tracer, more specifically. See, that's a difference. So bug is.
Get that kind of tie-in to Breaking Bad that a bug would be like a very important plot device.
Yeah. Yeah, I should make, if I'm right, with the distinction here, it could just be a different variation on the bug, but bug just kind of gets the general location. A tracer is much more exact, which we're going to see later on how exact the tracer is. Okay. So you're right. The point is he takes the car apart all day long looking for a bug. He's couldn't find in the normal spots. He's looking underneath on the forklift. He's got nothing. And there's 15 minutes till closing. Spent the whole day there. Nothing.
And then as the guy's calling a cab for him, by the way, really quickly, of course, we always like to highlight our very pleasant, service workers and whatnot. I think this guy's a very pleasant, junkyard employee. Hey, mister, we're closing in 15 minutes. I'll call you a cab.
What about your car?
Right.
And this for me is like one of the great Mike moments here. It's like this very simple bit, and this is what I love. These are the reasons we have strong feelings for Mike.
Dare I say it's a matchstick moment?
I'm not. I don't know if it technically constitutes a matchstick moment.
I don't know. Anyways.
Anyway, the point is, so it's like this great little moment here where he's sitting and like the guy's like on the phone ordering the cab, like calling the cab. He says, "Erman, what's your name?" I love the way Jonathan Banks says this. It's so casual, like he's like so mundane for Mike. He looks, Erman Trout. He thanks him. He's so darn pleasant. It's like so blue collar. So like he has to go through. I had to pronounce the name. He's kind of just sitting there. Thanks for calling the cab. It's very very nice.
Yeah, to be clear, that wasn't the matchstick moment I was talking about. The matchstick moment I was talking about comes after that, when Mike sees the gas canister and the gas cap, and he gets the kind of the light bulb moment, shall we say?
Yeah, I still don't think that.
Like I've searched everywhere except for this one possible place, and now there it is.
Yeah. Still don't think that's a matchstick moment, but I'll sorry.
I'm trying.
I was saying matchstick moment. I know the myriad of the matchstick moments. I don't think that counts.
Okay.
You're right. The point is, he sees the gas cap and he gets okay.
It's a light bulb moment. Would you agree? Yes. It's a light bulb moment.
It is a light bulb moment. He gets a light bulb. Okay. He goes in there. He finds oh my god, there it is. He pops it open with the screwdriver. He finds the tracer.
Okay. Yeah. See, I knew that this Mike stuff would go by really quickly. And then the question is, what does Mike? I'm sorry. Go ahead. So
after Mike returns home, it's nighttime now. I like the events how they play out. By the way, it's directly night because it was really late when he was getting home. we see he gets his cap from his car. Importantly, so again, the other car, it's kind of pussy. He took the tracer. He bought some gas caps that fit his car, and you're gonna see. I love that we do seed everything we see later, though. That's really good in this half here. We're seeding everything we're going to see play out later. All the pieces are in motion. So he takes his cap from his car. He finds another one. He finds like another tracking device. There's a tracking device on the rental car, and there's a tracking device on his car. It's important. He under a magnifying glass, really good shot, by the way. He's taking down the serial number of what the specific device is, like maybe how to trace it as well. The point is like what exactly the model of the thing is. He puts it back on his car because he doesn't want to arouse suspicion. Very importantly, puts it back in the gas cap, screws it back on his car. Let's see. Meanwhile, Jimmy is he's very. He sees a very chatty yet nice client, Miss Van Camp, out. She's talking about she's talking about her grandson's wedding, and she's just this.
Wait till you see the flowers, the roses and petunias, the orchids. Very importantly, Dragon, I hope you notice this: the lilies of the valley.
Yeah, very cool, and. Of course, you see there's a whole room full of old folks waiting for him, but there's one client who is not necessarily an old folk.
Oh boy!
And now here's the other thing. I'm really kicking myself. Of course, I meant to bring this up during the spec, but I didn't get to. And yeah, it's I knew they were gonna. I had a strong feeling they were gonna bring back the fudge thing.
Yeah, I had a strong feeling that something would come of the commercial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I thought. They didn't do it in the way I thought they would. I just thought it was going to be like Chuck was going to look for things to bury Jimmy with. And I thought that's how we're going to bring the fudge thing back.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going to build it. And basically, I think we're still going to get that with Chuck. Just maybe not this. Just basically Chuck's building a case of why Jimmy should be disbarred throughout the season.
Sure.
So then we see I love the hat reveal, by the way. The hat reveal of Captain Bauer. Now, folks who don't remember Captain Bauer was a nice young kind of Air Force. I think it's Air Force captain.
He was straight up starstruck by this this fictional character that Saul made up.
Yeah, and so Captain Bauer says, "Okay, Jimmy's saying, okay, sorry for the wait, folks. Who's next?" And Captain Bauer stands up, "Me."
Oh boy.
He says that'd be me. He's not as intimidating. He says, that'd be me, but he's really stern. So then, oh boy. So the captain is not happy with Jimmy's trickery from Fudge, from Fifi, the episode. Jimmy tries to make, importantly, this scene is a really great, another big scene of the episode here. Absolutely. So Jimmy's trying to make nice, with pleasantries, offering him a drink, soda, coffee, whatever, and, he's just grilling him, saying, "You lied to me." He said some artistic liberties may have been taken. So the crux of this is the captain's.
I love how he gets so offended about. He says, Jimmy calls it a B-52, and he's like, a B-59. B-'s a big 59.
29.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, a B-29. Yeah, B-29. This is all just one big joke to you.
Because it's always takes a moment just addressing kind of how worked up he's getting over someone saying the wrong.
Right.
But importantly, so again, he's getting really upset with the fake war hero thing. Again, it's most importantly, it's not the principle that he snuck onto there. It's the principle that he really kind of under the guys saying, "Hey, here's a war hero," not really at all. It's the fact that it was a war hero and kind of defacing the memory attached to the B-29.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again. I love that this scene to me is a great scene because as we see Jimmy, and this pointed out to me, I gotta say it was a brilliant call. It was made by the actors. They're trying to, Jimmy's trying to go for a peaceful, beneficial solution. He points out again, hey, look, there was no damage was done. He's really saying, okay, look, no damage was done. What's the big deal?
Right.
Which again is
he's making a case. He's just like, most people find it uplifting and patriotic, and I bet if you look at the recruitment numbers, there's a bit of an uptick.
Again, he's pulling a bait, and I love what we're going for the familiar with Jimmy here. Then we have a fun little new thing added to it. So again, he's going for the Davis and Maine. Hey, it didn't cost much, and it's a good message going out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the captain wants the ad to be taken down, or he'll things will get legal, make a legal case out of it. Basically, or legal else, I like to call it. It's like, take it down or legal else.
Right.
And Jimmy's pointing out the ridiculousness of all of this for 8 seconds.
And then, of course, he goes to town in the Saul mode. He goes into Saul mode. He's just like, okay, you know what? Bring your commander down here. Tell him that you brought us onto your base and gave us the red carpet treatment. And don't think for a second that old man in a wheelchair, even though he's not technically in a wheelchair, is not going to show up to court in a wheelchair.
Yep. So, oh boy, it's like it's a peek at Saul when Jimmy just fires back, and that's what Ray Seorn pointed this out. Like, you get a glimpse of, like, deep down, he does have kind of that fiery kind of that not evil by any chance. I'm saying that really ruthless kind
of
like,
the trickster, shall we say?
Yeah, just kind of that cutthroat lawyer, like the one who'll do anything it takes to win. Like no
the one who might suggest a trip to Belize.
Exactly. That's you get a glimpse at that guy. That deep down, Saul is there, and like it's like a little fight, and it scares Jimmy a little, which we're gonna get to in a second. Which I love how. Oh boy.
Of course.
So again, it's you're right though. I love that he's threatening with very adequate threat here. It's like, hey, you were the one who screwed up and let us on here. You like your job?
Mm-hmm.
Which is true. He really did screw up. Because remember, Jimmy could also make a case of, hey, it wasn't trespassing, just under false pretense. Like, he wasn't worried, but he did let us on. We didn't trespass.
Of course.
So, and then, oh boy, this scene this is why I love the series. He calls him an ambulance chaser.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that just the way Jimmy kind of snaps back there. He calls him an ambulance chaser. He says the frustration of Jimmy voicing how he is not Saul, essentially. He's basically voicing he is not Saul Goodman. He is a human being. Basically, all of you people trying to make me feel bad because and I love how he just, that's the moment that really gets me. Where he just kind of takes it in and he realizes. Again, that's the Jimmy. That's the difference between he's not Saul yet he's Jimmy. That's the moment.
When he says always on the high horse, it's like we know he's not just talking to the guy in the room at that moment.
Yeah, he's talking to Chuck. Chuck's the representation of doubt on Jimmy. Like, Jimmy's never been good enough, even though again he's done things non-traditionally, but he's a good lawyer. And again, that's what's going to fuel Saul Goodman down the line. Just that him catching himself though. That lawyers. Basically, the whole lawyers the bad guy rant. And he's tired of lawyers being just instantly the bad guy. As we've seen, this whole show is like, hey, our cutthroat lawyer that everyone hates, the kind of traditionally everyone hates, is really fundamentally a good guy. He started off a really nice guy.
Which is like, I feel like it's kind of that's what we were wanting to get with this show, and I feel like it's been a more gradual progression than we were anticipating. But I think with slowing down the pace a little bit and really getting into the nitty-gritty of the Jimmy McGill character, especially in season 2, it's going to make that transition all the more fascinating and all the more Walter White-esque, like
and heartbreaking.
Mr. Chips to Scarface thing.
I think the main difference is here it's more of a tragedy because, again, kind of like Spades and Mattel, we know where he's going.
Of course.
So again, Jimmy, like the moment where he catches himself there, in that moment he sees Chuck's point. He sees the Saul Goodman destiny for a moment. He sees what could be on his horizon there. And it's, he's not. Basically, I like here. While Jimmy's he's not being nice. He is acting like Saul in this moment to the captain. Then the captain's reaction also really gets me through. He sees almost with a look of the captain's kind of a little lost, seeing him recognize that in the moment. It's like almost a reaction of pity and satisfaction at the same time. You know what I mean? When the captain just kind of sees him catching himself, they're like, "Yeah, you see my point, right?"
Sure.
But the same team is kind of put off by it too. It's kind of like that whole, it's somewhat pity, but it's like, and then just the minute Jimmy then fires back, look, you do what you do, and I'll do what I do. And I just love the story-wise facing Jimmy, and this is a great way to open the season. We face Jimmy with an unbiased, morally upright figure, not like Chuck. Chuck is, Chuck's muddied, as he likes to phrase it. Chuck's a muddied character, where he's not in terms of he's bad or anything. I'm saying he's muddied, more unbiasedly, because of course Chuck has a point, but because it always boils down to that mother liked him better thing. It's always gonna be that brotherly things wedge drubbed between them. It's like we have this unbiased, morally upright figure warning Jimmy of the big threat of the season. The wheel will turn. Karma's coming for you. Lawyer, you can trust my. Yeah. But again, I love doing that for the season, just seeding. Okay, this guy's a warning. It's like we have a genuine warning coming for Jimmy, and Jimmy's not going to take it. He's going to be in grave danger.
No, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Mike is back at his first job we saw him at in the series at the the parking garage, and doing crosswords.
As per usual, he leaves work, leaves the gas cap behind, so again, they don't know he's up to something.
Let's see, and then he's waiting around at the junkyard, and we get a very familiar face. We get the the veterinarian, who may or may not be a crossover with the John Wick universe.
These honestly, I believe this is the same spot where they're shooting this. I think it's the same spot where he meets Nacho, but it's on the outside.
Yeah, I think so. The chicken coops.
Yeah, it's kind of that weird chicken coop thing. We keep thinking is like. Well, here's the thing: it's not actually a chicken coop. We think it's a chicken coop because it has like a broken one. We don't know what this place is.
It's got like the chicken coop, kind of like the chicken wire, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think it actually.
At any rate, I think it's very intentional. Vince Gilligan's playing with us, like ha 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 ha. It's chicken. You guys are thinking the chicken's Gus. Ha 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 ha.
So we have a meeting with the one of our favorites here. We have the Joe DeRosa veterinarian.
Oh yeah.
Characters. It's 3:30 in the morning. Joe DeRosa again. They usually have a meeting scene which we've seen for 2 seasons. Then he goes to the vet, brings the dog, and they talk business. That's usually how it goes. Or he calls him. So in this case, he calls him.
Now the dog's with Kaylee, right?
Yeah, the dog's Kaylee.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
that's what Mike's hinting at the end. Like she has plenty of company. It's fine. So basically, Mike says he needs a matching tracking device, including all the stuff that comes with the tracking device, which is why he has more than just the bug itself later on. And maybe he's also asking for some other tracking equipment that's written down that we're not seeing. Usually it's $500, but because it's such a middle of the night charge, unfortunately, like Norman Bates, he hasn't lowered the price for the middle of the night charge. He actually increased it, so it's $1,000 instead of $500.
Right.
And I love this. This love of the veterinarian.
Everyone needs a rainy middle of the night fare once in a while.
I love that. The veterinarian actually does care about dogs. He's asking how the dog is. She's not alone all day, is she? No, she's got plenty of company. She's good. Okay. Anyways, after the meeting scene there. Okay, Mesa Verde.
Yeah. First of all, I love the lobby of Mesa Verde, man. Tell me this isn't a really, really impressive lobby.
I'm so impressed on every aesthetic of the Albuquerque verse. I'm always impressed because they got great sets. They got great.
Like we have that like giant like cowboy and cactus, like the steel cowboy, and I also love like we have the aesthetic of like kind of like the desert trees and sand kind of like subtly mixed into the lobby as well.
I can't say enough nice things about how this shows the Albuquerque verse as a whole, especially this show. Though I think again they keep stepping up their game with Better Call Saul. Honestly, it's there's so much great.
Better Call Saul, of course, is the more high class. As we've been saying, it's kind of the more upper class equivalent to the Breaking Bad verse, whereas the Breaking Bad verse was more the middle class. You know what I mean?
Yes. And and here based on the costume and everything has such great character applied to it because again we see all sorts of character details and so much thought is put into the costume, but also in terms of the sets with the lobbies and everything. So of course we've seen at least Davis and Maine, HHM. No, we haven't seen Schweikert and Coakley, but we've seen we have Mesa Verde. We have a bunch of different really cool locations. That's the point. All right, so we got Kim Beaton with Paige.
Yeah, and Paige is just very impressed. And that Kim, man, she's just such a model employee, seriously.
Yes. Yeah, we can't say enough things about Kim Wexler. She's so good.
She's like Harry Pie.
If studios are out there looking for your next big project, let me tell you this. I'm not going to say, I'm just saying if I were like just kind of speaking executive speak, like, hey, remember this thing you liked? Here's another one. I'm not going to say, hey, here's Charlie's Angels for the new generation. I'm just saying, let's pair these three up.
Mm-hmm.
Vera Farmiga.
Oh God.
Ray Seahorn. And Morena Baccarin.
Oh man. Can we throw Rosario Dawson into the mix?
Well, it kind of defeats my 3 thing, but sure, let's make it a quartet. So, and Rosario Dawson, because why not?
And because she's awesome. Come on, who doesn't love Rosario Dawson?
I know, we love her. I'm just saying it's like, she's in everything right now. I'm saying we can't afford Rosario Dawson. Yes, you can. Right. Find the funds.
Okay.
So anyway, so speaking of Kim Wexler, though, so again, let's see how darn great is Kim in this scene? So she's
I,
talking to
my
Paige.
favorite Kim moment is, she gets the trial moved up 3 weeks, and Kim, I love this dragon because this is basically like my work attitude. She's just like, Paige is very impressed, but Kim's just like, I'll give it another shot and see what I can do. I might make it better. And that's
Oh, yeah.
exactly my attitude when
Yeah,
it comes
I'm
to
with
my
you.
workplace. You know what
I'm
I
with
mean?
you. Well, I agree with you 100.
It's like,
percent
even if I'm doing a great job, I'm like, I can do better.
Again, she's such a go getter, that Kim Wexler.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so impressive, let me just highlight for the folks there why this is so impressive what Kim's done. So this has been, in terms of, they say 3 days. She's been working on this for 3 days, and what that means is,
In addition to like the laundry list of wills she had to write out.
it's in addition to, let's say, like 5 or 6 wills.
Mm-hmm.
Four to 5 wills. All right,
Mm-hmm.
4 to 5 wills. She this is basically, she's been doing this since Click. So out of those 3, she's been working on this since Click, and of course a lot of stuff was going on in Click. So that was what that third day was all about. So almost 2 days after the last season, she's been working, because I want to say the next Mesa Verde hearing was moved to like from either 6 weeks to a month.
6 weeks. It was 6 weeks.
Right. So point, she cut down the time in half for 3 days, more like 2 days work, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's very impressive what she's done there, and she's still willing to do better, as you mentioned. We get
and then here comes the second, like, hey, Kim, you get that you did a bad thing.
but just what gets us there, by the way, I love this. The writers must have loved this line. That's why they gave her this thing. The muddying the waters line. That's why they had Paige refresh us on the. You know what that Chuck McGill said to me? He said, "I was muddying the waters." His words.
Mm-hmm.
Muddying the. I love that she emphasized muddying the waters. And you know that's because they love that line in that episode. I love it too. So after the money in the waters, and then basically, she's bashing Chuck from the botched hearing, which puts guilt and pressure on Kim.
Oh man, it's such an awkward situation for Kim to be in.
Now, importantly, you'll notice, and this is where Ray Seahorn is so brilliant. She doesn't bash Chuck.
Of course.
But at the same time, she doesn't disagree because of the truth, because of what she knows. So again, she's playing it very neutral. She's, oh yeah, that's right, huh? So Kim's asking, after that's said, all the pressure compounding upon her, bringing it this really polarizing, not polarizing, it's really very interesting. Like, you can take it this way, you can take it that way. Same with Kim in a moment, where she asks to hold on to the documents and have them messengered to Mesa Verde the next day, because she wants to scrutinize it. Wants to make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, which Paige agrees, because, oh my God, she's doing great work. What if she moves up even more? So then we have the scene of Kim scrutinizing. The scene I was talking about. Kim scrutinizing the documents, and I love this. Like, she's eternally, her curse is like she's.
Wait. Hold on, one sec. I'm sorry. Pump the brakes just a bit. I just we have to mention the fact that Kim specifically says, the people at HHM, when crunch time comes, it's always someone else's fault.
Well, that was Paige.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but it said to Kim, and obviously the implication in that.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to highlight that.
You're right.
Okay.
Again, that's her kind of sharing it's kind of like her agreeing to the truth there.
Yeah, but it's also just kind of like, well, yeah, it is someone else's fault. It kind of is. Yeah, you're right about that. You're more right than you know.
This scene to me is like a great Rorschach test for the episode. Kim scrutinized the document. The first part is just one point, the dramatic irony of, well, it's not exactly dramatic irony, because Snake would crucify me if I used dramatic irony.
Now, Dragon, you should know what dramatic irony is. Don't let me go into another diatribe.
Anyway, so, I love that Kim's just she's in dreaded doc review. It's like the dreaded doc review curse. Like, she's reviewing documents so intensely now.
The Dragon, taking English classes and stuff when punctuation and formatting is super important. Like, I get this so much. this is me whenever I have a college class. All right.
I think we can all relate to this kind of scrutiny and being unsure about punctuation. And
oh my god.
So, oh boy, so this way you can take in a myriad of ways. So here's how I'm just kind of addressing kind of all possibilities here. So let's see. As Kim's scrutinizing the thing, I love how it's shot like really up close and really intensely, kind of very kind of paranoia shot. She's like, I think she's. The reason she's kind of fine tuning and really kind of she's obsessing. I think she's obsessing over like the grammar and everything here, out of fear and paranoia, over screwing up. Basically, she's fearing that she's going to end up like Chuck and basically screwing up something so minor that it's going to tank the whole thing. So that's the pressure that's kind of like, okay, you're taking on this huge thing, and it's only you. And then, of course, the other side of it, and this is what I was reading through the episode, honestly. This is my second one's what I was more feeling. I think it's both, honestly. But I think the other side of it is that it's her. The reason she keeps like taking it back and then putting it back and then fixing it and not fixing it. The real reason I think that is that she feels guilty keeping the Mesa Verde thing that she basically keeping the ill-gotten gains of Mesa Verde along with all this stuff's being said about Chuck where she knows it's Jimmy's fault, so she doesn't. In a way, it's like she's maybe contemplating making minor mistakes as a way of easing her conscience over. Well, it was a minor mistake that got Chuck all screwed up, so maybe I should make a minor mistake to kind of even, again, far less important than 1261.
Of course.
I don't know, that's what I'm saying. It's like her trying to equate to that over these very minor things, like adding a wrong punctuation here and there, make herself not look as perfect as they're making her out to be.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? It's a fun wave. It's a multiple interpreted scene, I think.
Definitely. I really like the Rorschach test comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's like, yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay, so shall we get into Ernie and Chuck just...
she's staying late, Jimmy's staying with her, he's, quitting time's her quitting time. I love it, Jimmy's always in tune with Kim, he's painting...
and shall we mention the half of the rainbow?
Yes, and I think that's symbolic of, like, okay, we're seeing...
it's gotta be symbolic, yeah.
Like, half the rainbow's covered. Basically, it's like Jimmy's being prepared for fall, like, hey...
I really wish that we weren't spoiled on what the new thing going up on the wall is going to be.
That would have been cool, yeah. But to be fair, we don't know what else he's putting on aside from that.
I mean, we know we know this is going up. The WM. That's all we know.
Yeah, I assumed that was just going to be, but now the whole basically thinking that maybe there's a little bit more he's adding to it.
Because when he first said, "Wait till you see," like they're gonna love it. My first thought, like my honest to God gut reaction, was like it's gonna be like a giant like wall size American flag. Just painted on there. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else with that scene?
See, again, that might be symbolic of like, okay, well, there's half the rainbow, as in like, it's like when you go over the rainbow and the pot of gold's on the other side, basically what if the pot of gold side's gone, you're going to fall midway and just fall endlessly.
That is a very depressing notion.
So basically, instead of ending up in a honey pot, slipping Jimmy's just going to fall to his death.
Oh, man. Okay.
Let's see, some of the better's going up. Kim's still haunted and obsessed by it. She's like, give me a minute, and then she's printing out again, still obsessing her. Ernie, go, Ernie.
Okay, Ernie, oh my God, this is when Chuck just, oh, Jesus. Like, if Chuck is seriously delusional over the fact that he's like, playing these legal mind games and being a slippin' Jimmy himself, then he is just like, to quote Howard Hamlin, he is a world-class son of a bitch. He really is. And I gotta say, Dragon, I've been in caregiver positions before, and this is like a horror story when it comes to a caregiver position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's remind the folks that we like Ernie. Ernie's a nice kid.
Yeah, totally. And I think this is definitely going to put Ernie in a tough spot. But let's go through to the proceedings. So Ernie arrives. He has I love how he's questioning the apples. Like, I got Granny Smith's. I hope that's okay.
Yep, he's got ice, he's got the groceries, as you said, apples, but also there's an interesting item there, and he's like, I usually never ordered to get batteries.
Yes, yes, wrapped in foil like the tape recorder.
Now I like this. That was Ernie's idea. That's what makes the scene so painful. Ernie's being so nice and forward thinking. He had the idea to wrap them up just to be safe.
For
You
sure,
know.
for sure.
So again, it's like out of the ordinary, getting better is what you wrapped in the space plane. Get nicer.
Oh God.
Chuck then now again Chuck's trying to now just to reemphasize this. So again, Chuck knows that Ernie kind of let him down in terms of the Jimmy thing. Ernie went to Jimmy's side, so that's why Chuck is trying not to involve Ernie, but he's stuck with Ernie.
Sure.
So Chuck's trying to replace the batteries himself at first, which it's too hands-on for him, so he just can't do it. As we saw, he can't be in the same room.
No. Chuck feigns struggling. That's what it is. It's not too hands-on for him. He is feigning struggling.
Okay, Tiki, I know we're saying he's evil. I don't think he's that evil. Come on.
No. He is that evil. He's that evil. I am convinced he's that evil. This whole thing, this whole setup was incredibly deliberate on his end. He staged every single little bit of this, bit by bit, Dragon. I am telling you, he goes over and he feigns struggling. He wanted Ernesto to put the batteries in. I am telling you.
All I'm saying is,
I am convinced of this, my friend. I have evidence to back it up.
And I have. We're getting to a legal battle over batteries. my evidence, counselor, is this. My evidence is the fact that Chuck was in a room with Hamlin where he didn't need to feign anything, where he couldn't be in the same room as the tape recorder.
Okay, but let me just say this though. Let me just say this. Now, the tape recorder starts playing at a very specific moment, where it's Jimmy's voice saying, basically, we'll get into the legal stuff later, but to basically recap, he calls Ernesto over if he feigns or not. That's up for debate, but and
he needs help with the batteries. That's what his claim is. Yeah, can you help me with the batteries?
Dragon, one thing's for sure, you can't deny that this was a setup. Like, he definitely wanted Ernesto to hear this.
I don't know. I'm not on board with that. I see where you're coming from. I still
not on board with that. Seriously,
Are
you serious right now? I can't believe it. I can't. I feel like I want to walk out of this podcast right now. I want to walk, man.
If you walk, you're coming back with a limp.
If I walk, I'm just going to come back awkwardly like 20 seconds later, and it'll just slow things down, so I'm not going to do that.
Let's see. So, yeah, honestly,
but seriously, I'm shocked that you don't think that this is all set up by Chuck. I'm really shocked that you don't.
Look, what I think is, I'm more of like, I think it's a spur of the moment evil. I don't think it's a pre-planned evil. I think it's as evil as you're making it out to be. I just think he comes up with it on the spot.
No, I'm not convinced of that. I'm really not. Okay, you know why I'm not convinced of that, Dragon? You know I'm not convinced of that?
Why?
Okay. So the way tape recorders work, we have to get into the semantics of tape recorders. The way tape recorders work is that you remember how the buttons are pushed down and they stay in that push down position, right?
Yeah.
So Chuck very deliberately had the play button pushed down. So it wasn't even Ernie pushing on the batteries that made the play button push. That play button was already in the position to start playing as soon as the batteries were in.
I would argue that.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I would argue that.
I'm not done.
I'm sorry. Go on. Continue, please.
Okay, and he also, the tape starts playing in an incredibly convenient location, basically like the one spot where it's like definitively the, the damning evidence on Jimmy's end. The whole like, yeah, Chuck, I did it. I changed 12:16 to 21:16 to 12:16. It was me. It all went exactly, and then Chuck freaks out. Dragon, I don't know. The fact that the tape recorder already had that play button in the position locked to start playing as soon as the battery's put in, and also the fact that it was very conveniently at the exact moment when Jimmy confesses on the tape. I'm honestly kind of stunned that you don't think this was a setup. I'm kind of speechless because to me it seems pretty obvious. This is just gonna we were doing so good on time, but this is just totally gonna stop us in our tracks right
I'm just trying to move on from it, but I mean, I'm just you're baiting me. It's very simple. Chuck was listening to it, and it conked out on with that part. That's why it's in the on position, and he doesn't want Ernie because he knows he can't trust Ernie. Ernie is like the big threat to his plans, which he turns around in a second here. Because if Ernie knows, he knows it's going to make its way to Jimmy, which is why he has to come up with this.
No. But he could have, if he really didn't want Ernie to hear it, he could have just not. Okay, I get what you're saying about the location. Like it's convenient as hell. But I get what you're saying about it. However, having said that, like I said, the play button is locked in that position. Even without batteries on a tape recorder, you can still put different positions. You can still put it to pause.
I'm saying Chuck has to use like a tong thing to even put this thing on. So look, we're gonna spend all day on this. Right? Again,
I can't believe it. I was. Wow, I'm speechless. Okay, yeah, let's just recap it because I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree here. But
anyways, so the point is, Chuck tries replacing batteries himself, turns it over to Ernie. Ernie does it, and he accidentally, I'm saying accidentally, at least on Ernie's side, is definitely accidental. He didn't intend for this.
Of course, Ernie definitely didn't intend for this. Yes.
The point is, Ernie.
I think we can both agree to that. Yay, we agree on something.
The point is, Ernie's pushing the batteries in, which kind of triggers the on. Like pushes down on the button, so then the play button comes up or whatever. The point is, actually presses the button, which he hears the part of Jimmy saying, specifically 1261 to 1216, which is the darning evidence. Then Chuck initially he's upset over don't touch, don't touch that. He's yelling at him like, oh, you heard nothing. Mm-hmm. Because again, his plan is potentially ruined by Ernie learning that. He quickly then pulls with slipping Jimmy finesse. I love this. We have slipping Jimmy for Jimmy stuff, but he calls it finesse. So Chuck finesses Ernie here by blaming himself. Oh, it's my own. It's my own fault. Basically trying to placate him like he's a kid. He just yelled at. Just like he manipulates Ernie in this moment with the confidentiality BS, which by the way doesn't hold up because it's not. It's technically not an ongoing case. So the point is Ernie's not in the service of a client here. It's not an actual legal case, but Ernie doesn't know that.
Not at all. It's just Chuck throwing legal nonsense at
Which, of course, is absolutely Chuck being a hypocrite, which means Chuck is in the wrong this season. He is undeniable. Before it was up in the air, but now he's absolutely. I'm saying not in this episode, but I'm saying season 1 and 2, Chuck has a point, but at the same time he's being really prickish about it. Here is absolutely on the wrong side.
Yeah, totally.
So the point is, poor Ernie, he's in the middle of this, which means, again...
like I said, man, this is just like a fucking horror story when it comes to a caregiver, you know what I mean?
Now, I will, just to balance out our frustrations on this battery debacle, just to balance it out.
Okay.
So I think we can agree on, at least it's going to feed into your side a little bit more, is that poor Ernie, he's in the middle of this. I fully believe that Chuck is willing to ruin this kid if, the confidentiality, if he, I get a sense in the scene that he would throw Ernie under the bus, whatever it took.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is I was just wrote my notes.
Yeah,
bad Chuck.
Yeah,
bad Chuck.
Oh god. No, I agree. Ernie is so expendable to Chuck. It's just he could just literally take his life and throw it away like it's trash.
Yep, and again, it's just Chuck is just so hypocritical, and now Ernie knows, and again, he's not supposed to tell Jimmy. And again, I don't think Chuck would take a risk because he knows Ernie betrayed him before. I don't think he'd take the risk. That's all I'm going to say. But then we have the ultimate evil Chuck moment, where he flips the tongs triumphantly, "Oh, I pulled a slipping Chuck, ha 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 ha," or a finessing Chuck, ha 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 ha. Anyway. So, let's see. So, Mike is reading through, take us through the Mike stuff.
Okay, let's see. So, it's just very meticulous. He's just reading through the instructions. I love how it comes with an instruction manual. Isn't that convenient?
Yes. Well, again, it's he bought the whole set. That's why it's so expensive, because now would be the time to bring it out. So, in addition to the tracking device, of course, comes with something you can monitor it with, and that thing is very kind of like a giant radio-esque device with a little screen on it. And that screen on it has a big circle of the proximity, kind of how many clicks something's at, basically a little thing you can track. Mm-hmm. And of course, as it's no surprise, just how clever Mike is and these little moments of humanity, Mike, as always, every season, we like to express our love for good old Mike Ehrmantraut. And this way, we've kind of tied it into the tracking device. Because we want to track how much we love Mike this season.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So starting with episode 1 of this season, we love Mike right about
there. Right about there.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
So that's essentially that's where we're loving Mike right now. And as the thing goes on, maybe in some different appearances, we're going to see, we love Mike expressed all over that little tracking radius.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so point is, Mike has a little device to monitor tracking device. Let's see. Let me try.
I also love how he basically matlocks a radio.
Yes. This kind of procedurally, here's what he does. He pulls his device, puts his device on a gas cap. Because he bought a bunch. Puts his device, the one he just bought, on a gas cap. He puts that back on his car because that's the one they're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
With his trusty radio and wire, he drains the tracker they put on his car. He drains that battery, so they're going to be showing up to his car to replace it. They're going to take his so they can put a new one on.
Sure.
They take basically, which means they're going to come to replace it, which means they're going to take his tracker, which means the one they're taking back to dispose of is going to be Mike's tracker, so they can trace him. You follow me on that?
Yeah. I mean, I got it. Yeah, I followed the whole thing. Yeah.
Just want to make sure for the folks out there too. Again, it's like he put on the car. That's the one they think is dead, and they're taking that to take back because he drained it. So they think, okay, well, we lost signal. We gotta go replace it. Anyway, so point is, Mike's drained the battery, which means now he's sitting in front of his window eating nuts.
Eating pistachios, to be specific.
Yes, eating pistachios. Good product placement there. The whole night, and he's just kind of waiting outside the window to see them.
Law as well. Pistachios are actually a major plot point in Milo Murphy's Law, believe it or not.
You see a very awesome kind of predatory Mike just kind of waiting and biding his time. We're just kind of eating nuts eating pistachios the whole night, waiting for them to retrieve the thing, and then he just kind of menacingly kind of drives off following them after they get away. That's where we end the episode.
All right. So great first episode, Dragon. Let's get into a little bit of spec. I mean,
promo.
Yeah. What's the promo? Go ahead.
I'm just going to fire through the shots here. Again, this stuff we've kind of seen already. So Mike's calling Jimmy at a car lot.
Mm-hmm.
Howard's in the field. Jimmy has an idea for Kim. Like, and they're being very vague with the trailer. I gotta say, like, hey, I got an idea. We see a little bit of Los Pollos Hermanos. Jimmy's got Mike's back. Him say, I got you. Hey, who's got your back? It's me. Howard climbing the wall, and Fring. Fring's back.
Okay. I want to clarify the thing with Fring, all right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to believe that Fring is actually in an episode until I see it. Because they are going to put him in every single fucking promo until he actually appears, all right? So he may or may not show up in episode 2, Dragon. I want to make that very clear.
I think you're right.
They're just going to keep using that same, like, what can I do for you? I'm sorry, that was a very British phrase. What can I do for you? But you know what I mean? They're gonna keep recycling that same clip over and over and over and over
I wonder
again.
who would be in the British version of Better Call Saul? Who would be the British equivalent for Bob? I'm going to have to speculate that.
Oh, wait. I know who the British equivalent for Fring would be, though. It'd be... No, not Idris Elba. It'd be the guy from the IT crowd. Moss from the IT crowd.
Yeah, Bupkis. Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull up a picture of him off air, all right?
Right.
Anyways,
so here's what the speculates. So let's see. I think, I'm going to say this, I think we're going to get another, I think because of just the scale and the importance of the ending of the Gene scene, I think we're going to get another one at the end of the season.
At the end of the season. Okay.
End of the season.
Okay.
Either ending the last episode. Either it's going to, at the point it's going to be the last episode, it's either going to start off it's going to be the cold open of the last episode, or it's going to be the ending of the last episode.
Ooh, man, the ending.
Point is, I'm betting you we're going to see another Gene scene. Again, I could be wrong if they just follow formula, but I think just because of the way this one ended,
I would honestly prefer it to be a cold open as opposed to the ending.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be one of the two. So I'm saying at the very least, last episode we're going to get another Gene scene.
Okay. I mean, I don't really have a ton of spec. We already kind of like went on about Howard. I feel like we're very clear about what we feel about.
Well, I have some additional Howard stuff. I think a reason for why Howard.
Okay.
Why Howard's where we see him at. That an idea came to me is that I think Howard's tracking down witnesses like Lance, because the next episode's called Witness. Or
I think we're going to see Lance again next episode for sure.
In addition to Lance, maybe Howard's tracking down witnesses, which aside from Lance, other commercial elements aside from Fudge and then the captain would be the school, the playground from the flag shot.
Sure.
I think that's why Hamlin's on a playground.
Remember Hamlin's lie?
Yeah, because remember. Hamlin's on a playground. We see like a slide and a swing set behind. Okay. So I think maybe that's where he's at.
I like that. Maybe. Okay.
It's kind of my Hamlin thing. So points. I think it just feeds into Chuck's building a case for Jimmy's disbarment by kind of compiling just all these like unethical things Jimmy's done.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Okay, let's see. I think the end. Optimistically, I understand your point. I completely agree with it, but I'm just going to say it once. Optimistically, let's say the next episode ends with Fring on the surface. Ends with Fring on the surface. Otherwise, just you're right. I'm saying if we don't get a next episode, then you're right. It's going to come anytime. That's all.
Right.
So at the very least, we're not going to see him like kind of do the mustache twirl, like, "Oh, I'm more." I mean. More
oh no, of course not. If we see him at all, it's just going to be like a very quick, like, "Oh, there he is. He's in the freaking, he's just like we saw him in Breaking Bad." Ooh.
The last thing I got broadly is that I think something bad's going to come at the end of the next of episode 2 because it'll be the beginning of Sunk Cost, which is the third one. Sunk Cost, of course, means we've lost something bad.
Okay.
I think that's how we're going to lead in 2 to 3. Is that something? Basically, Jimmy's on top of the world. Then at the end of 2 is going to be okay, and whatever he and Kim have worked up is going to go horribly wrong, and they're going to deal with it in episode 3.
All right. Okay, so I don't really have any spec of my own because I'm lazy like that. It was a long day, so all right. So final thoughts then, Dragon. I guess I'll start. Talking through this episode, I definitely have more of an appreciation for the Mike stuff than I did on initial watch because you got to understand, Dragon. Initial watch, I was watching with my dad for like 4 hours. I was watching like episode 7, 8, 9, 10. And of season 2, and we were just barraged with like Fring, and I kind of knew that Fring wasn't going to show.
Fring's like
I was kind of like how you are now. I was kind of somewhat like hoping that we might see him at the end or something like that, but I knew we wouldn't see much of him. But I don't know, to see like the Mike stuff kind of be so slow paced at first was a big turnoff for me. But now that I've kind of studied it and I've heard other reviews of it, also we should mention it is especially the junkyard scene, Dragon, is a direct reference to the what is it? The Conversation, I think. They talked about it on Talking Saul. It's the Conversation, the ending of the Conversation.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is a French Connection reference.
There might be a French connection, but this is also the Conversation as well. But anyways,
so you mean okay? I see what you're saying. I can't really quite weigh in on that.
My bad. But this is just my very long-winded way of saying that this episode is very meticulously crafted. If anything, Dragon, I kind of wish we got a little bit more with Chuck. Like I kind of feel like I don't know, because they very deliberately cut off the whole like, oh, I've got a plan, and that's clever for the plot. But I don't know, I kind of wanted to see at least one more thing with Chuck that I would have cut out for maybe like one meticulous Mike scene. But overall, it's a very solid episode. I don't quite think it's as good of an episode as the first episode of season 2. I thought that was a really masterful episode. But it's still really good. It's still way up there. It's a great return to the Albuquerque verse. Vince Gilligan is in great form, with his shots and composition and storytelling. So Great to be back. All right.
I like this episode. I'll admit, I'm not holding this against it. I'm just saying the ending, for a first episode, just compared to the two we've gotten before, especially as you mentioned, Switch, episode episode 1 of season 2.
Switch was just such a good character study.
Yes, of course, that had a really good ending. My point being, I think, if it were me, I wouldn't have ended with the Mike driving off shit. That's cool. I'm just saying that wouldn't have been my
it's just
ending,
like, okay, we get it. We know. You know what I mean?
yeah, it wouldn't have been my ending, but then again, I don't have an Emmy, so I can't really. What do I know? But my point is, like, yeah, it's still good. It's just, I would have liked, Switch that like ended on the Switch. It was like, something references the title. It's kind of the Great Breaking Bad. He's always referenced the title, like Fly, of course. Always reference the title at the end. You don't always have to. I'm saying some of the great ones do that. That was like I would have liked maybe like a final Chuck shot, like seeing Mabel on the shelf. That would have been kind of cool, but. The point is, though, again, I do like I said, I love what we're setting up here. Again, I did like taking our time with Mike. Mainly, the point is, like, we're basically condensing down what we took like a whole episode of. From that was my only complaint with the series as a whole. Like episode 8 really was all set up, and that was from season 2. It was always set up, and
sure.
Good stuff, but all set up and didn't really pay off until the next one. This condensed that, which means okay, it's at least where it's more manageable, but also we got some really good character stuff with Jimmy and. Jimmy, we got a really great kind of character setup with Chuck. But again, that scene with Jimmy, I love we're really diving the whole. He's on the path.
I would say the best scene of the episode is definitely the scene with confronting the military guy.
Yeah, that for me is the scene of the episode. That
I would agree. Yeah,
that's the scene. Also, the Gene scene did got really cool and plotty.
I'd say this is definitely the best Gene scene we've gotten so far.
I don't know. I really like the first episode's Gene scene because I'm just saying, like the music choice, everything, all the Gene scenes have been good. Again,
they're all good, but I mean, if anything, like you just said, this is definitely the most plot-heavy Gene scene.
Yeah,
the Gene scene.
Gene scene. But yeah, on the whole, really good episode. Again, I love, of course, Kim, and I love we're getting into characters' heads and we're saying so much visually without getting into dialogue in places like with Kim's scene, with scrutinizing the documents, Mike's scenes, of course, and again, Jimmy. It's like kind of like the moments where it's just kind of so much communicated. I'm thrilled with the storytelling of this episode. That's it's kind of the whole. So it was a strong start for the season, I feel.
Okay. All right, folks. So that's all for now.
Wait. We need to call our lawyer.
Oh my God! Yes, you're right. We need to call our lawyer. What was I thinking?
So we'll make it brief this time around. Who we want to call, the past or the future?
Let's call the future.
Okay, future up it is. Okay. So, folks, get ready to call your lawyer, Saul Goodman. That's going to be okay. Now, for all you kiddies out there, it's going to be on the radio hour here, 505. Okay. 503. 4455. Again, for the Little Orphan Nanny fans out there, 505 503 4455.
One-stop shop for all things law. If they've accused you of breaking bad, better call Saul. If you're currently under arrest or in custody, follow my 3 patented rules. 1, keep your mouth shut. 2, keep your mouth shut. 3, don't make eye contact with anyone in a holding cell unless you're looking to make a love connection. Visit my website for more free. BetterCallSaul.com. The solution to your problems is just minutes away. Your call is important to us. Please continue to hold. Drug felonies, press 1. DUI, press 2. Slip and fall on government property, press 3. Illegal animal smuggling, press 4. Unreasonably hot fast food beverage accidents, press 5. Wayfair 515 victims, press 6. To continue this message in Tagalog, press star. Your call is important to us. Please continue to hold. What, the cops won't let you hold anymore? You're running out of quarters? Look, if you're going to break that, you got to be prepared. For more free legal advice, head to my website, BetterCallSaul.com.
God bless America.
Makes you feel all patriotic, and it's
Right.
worth every fifi.
No, it legitimately does, man. I kind of felt like an obligation to put like my hand on my heart during that.
Hand on the dollar, so to speak. That's very
I
much
guess.
that's
Okay.
legal America for you.
All right, so we called the future last time. Next time we'll call the past. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, without further ado, that's all for now, and we'll be taking a temporary recess until next time.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better call Saul. Saul Goodman and Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally be lawyers.
Totally.
You are one world-class son of a bitch.